What's up? What's up? What's up? How you guys doing? Welcome to the Fareed Rashad Keep It Real podcast. I'm here with no other than Lee Oliver.
Thank you.
How you doing, Lee?
I'm doing amazing. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. For you guys that don't know, Lee is a financial coach. He is very instrumental in the beauty and barber industry down here in Tampa, Florida. When did I first meet you, Lee?
I would say maybe about 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's about 3 years ago.
Because we like at that point, I was a little bit of background story on me. I was an electrician before I became a financial coach or an investment advisor, however you want to put it. Everybody got different names for what I do. I just help people with money. Just understand that.
Okay.
But before that, I was an electrician. So I was in the trade. I did that for 12 years. I was in the union down in Tampa, Florida. And, I wanted to shake things up, do something different. I started to trade at a young age, but I always wanted to be a business owner or put myself in a position where I could work myself into being a business owner. So something that was instrumental in my life was somebody sitting down with me when I was younger and I didn't know what I wanted to do and just really helping me get my finances together, telling me not to go into debt, telling me to save and invest early because, you want to retire one day and all this stuff. So somebody did that with me. And I was like, man, if I could do that for somebody else that's young like me, and that'd be the world. So looked at my options, got with the firm that actually got me right way back when, and then got licensed, did that part-time for about a year and a half, made a decision to leave my full-time career as an electrician of 12 years. And that was about 4 years ago, haven't looked back since. But after I soon left, I found out that, I needed to have a niche. And my niche ended up being connecting with barbers. Just from a random encounter, my wife was getting her nails done. The other lady getting her nails done there was her husband was a barber. My wife told her about what I did. She like, you got to go see this guy at this barbershop. He just got here in town and all that. Had a conversation with him, man, and he's like, man, everybody needs what you're talking about right now.
Wow.
And I was like, really? Like, I'm trying to help you, on a small level. But he's like, no, you don't understand. Nobody is talking to us like this in our industry.
Yeah, no, that's true. Me being a barber myself for many, many years, being self-employed can be a dream come true for some people. It can be a curse for others. And the mismanagement of money is very high, I believe, in the barber and beauty industry. We're artsy people. We like to look good. And a lot of times we make cash money every day. So what we do with that money is another thing. So, and for years, I know that I make money, spend money. End of the week come, I never really kept track of what I made, and then I'd be like, "What? Well, I ain't got no money." But yet, I got new sneakers. I got all this fancy, pretty shiny stuff, but no money.
Yeah.
And the attitude even years ago, my thing was, tomorrow I make $100, I'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? So I think that, you being in the industry and knowing, how we think and operate is a blessing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So, you understand, the that side of the business where that money, you can make money work for you.
Absolutely.
Instead of you working for the money. So just tell everybody, some of the things that as barbers and beauticians, what we need to do.
Well, I think something that you touched on is a fundamental that gets overlooked a lot when I talk to people in the industry. And that's really like tracking your money. Like you would not believe how many barbers and stylists and people in the service industry that get a lot of cash money. And this goes beyond barbers and stylists, because I speak with waitresses and waiters and all that as well. People that get cash money, do not track their money, especially the cash part. Now with
Guilty.
now with Cash App, Square, people taking the cards, it's easier to track the money a little bit more now.
Yeah.
But there's still a big component of the industry that gets cash money.
Right.
And that cash money that nobody's tracking and nobody's looking at where it's going is a big proponent or a big indicator of how you're doing overall with your money. Because if you can't tell me how much money you really made this week,
Right.
I mean, like, how do you know if you're winning? If you're in a business, if you're running a business and we took your register receipts and they just had blank on them, you wouldn't expect that business to stay in business very long.
Right.
I don't know if I can buy more products for my business. I don't know if I can, pay the bills for my I don't know if I can do any of that if I don't know how much revenue or income I had coming in.
Right.
So that's like the first thing. If anybody just wants on the ground level, finding out, how to get right, track your money on a daily basis. It makes a world of difference. Just telling people to do that and them actually doing it. And I understand you're going to be busy at the shop. You're going to have clients back to back. But the only way you're going to be successful is if you take 2 minutes after each, just break it up, 2 minutes, write it down. Okay, made this much money, boom. I can, at the end of the day, I know I made X amount of dollars a day. This was a slow day. This was a busy day. I can find points where I can increase my revenues on different days. And then from there, we use that as the building block to move forward and then start budgeting, because that's the next step on really getting everything right.
Right. Right. And I think that you just said a key word, budget and budgeting, managing your money pretty much.
Yeah.
And, for years, I know I mismanaged money, and I'm sure other barbers and stylists and maybe people in other industries that get cash money mismanage their money. What are some of the apps that you would suggest for barbers or anybody that's self-employed to use to help manage their money?
So there's a ton of different apps. So I've used EveryDollar before. I've told stylists to use the most fundamental thing, which is a notepad. Like, seriously, just use a notepad and write it down if you're not fancy. I don't really recommend a particular app because I got to the point where I've downloaded like 10 different budgeting tracking apps, and I would give out a suggestion out of all of them, and somebody's going to find one where they like, and it does this thing, or the colors are this way, or this or that.
Right.
The main thing that you got to focus on is it needs to be something that you don't mind using on a daily basis.
Right.
Because if you don't like the way it looks, if you don't want to use it, it could be the best app in the world, but if you don't use it, it doesn't matter.
Right.
So I always tell people, it's great to have an app, but also have a paper backup.
Okay.
Because that paper will keep you accountable. It's a difference when, you have a phone and you're just like plugging away in the phone, as opposed to, let me take the time to write it down, put it on a piece of paper. I can always transfer it over to the phone later, but have that paper there as well as any app you choose. And just go to the app store and be like, budgeting apps. And I would download like 10 of them, look at them. Most of them are free anyway. So look at them, see what you like about them, see what you don't, get rid of them, find the one you like, and then rock with that one. And don't be afraid to pay for the paid versions of apps, as long as they're not astronomical. Okay, like paying $5 for a good app, that's not a big deal.
Right.
I know you don't believe you should pay for anything, but if it's $5 and the functionality of the app increases your profit because of how efficient it is, pay the $5 for the app and have it with the full functionality and use it for how you need to use it, because it's two things in the industry that cost people money. One, not having the right tools, right? You as a barber professional can say, look, if I get a crappy pair of clippers, I'm not going to be as efficient as I was before, and I'm also not going to get the desired look that I want.
Right.
So in that aspect, every barber knows they need to get the right tools. They might not be able to afford, the nice new clippers that came out and all that, but they know they need to have at a bare minimum this.
Right.
I remember back when I was an electrician, they're called side cutters, but they're just clamping, cutting pliers, right? So we had Klein brand, which is the end all be all brand. Klein, that's the name brand that you want to get.
Okay.
And then you had the store brand, same tool. You can get the commercial electric, and I'm not trying to throw shots at Home Depot,
Right.
but commercial electric is the brand that Home Depot has, and like Klein is the brand. They call this tool a Klein.
Okay.
That's how good it is in this aspect, right? So when you get the crappy one, it don't cut stuff right. It don't cut through. You're doing a lot more work for the same thing that if you had this one that costs 3 times more. No,
Right.
it costs 3 times more. Okay, so it's like a $38 plier.
Right.
Right. Boom. Every time. Boom. 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 Cut your work in half. So you got to have the right tools. Right. That's
Right.
one thing. The second thing is you have to have a strategy on what you want to do with your money on a daily basis.
Right.
Am I going to save money? What are the expenses that I have on a daily basis? If you put those two things together, at that point, you're starting to move yourself forward financially.
Okay. I mean, I know my saving habits was really bad.
Everybody's
and then if you're in a relationship, depending on if your spouse is a spender, or if they're or if they're like real frugal, do they use coupons? The barber industry can be a business that's up and down at point. And then we're still in the I say the tail end of a pandemic, because I think things are starting to open up and get a little better for us, with the vaccines that's coming out and people, abiding by the laws to wearing masks and all this kind of stuff. So I think that even in these times, with the pandemic, money is definitely going to be, really important to manage, And then, Lee, can you tell us something about the Bitcoin and this other
this question always
currency?
comes up.
And reason why I'm bringing it up, because even on Instagram and social media, a lot of the barbers are getting these ads. I get them, and I'm sure other barbers are getting them, and other stylists, about Bitcoin to sign up, because I still haven't understood what really it is. I don't know if it's digital money. I don't know what it is. So, but I get an idea. But can you break that down for us?
All right. So Bitcoin in itself it's a long conversation, but it's also a short conversation. So I'll take it from the realm of Bitcoin, and I'll just put it in the realm of investing in general. Right.
Okay.
So when you're talking about investing in something, you want to look at what are the highs and what are the lows it's been at, and what are your goals. Everything that I talk about comes back to goals and using the right tools for you.
Okay.
Bitcoin might be right for you, it might be wrong for me. Bitcoin itself, if you understand what it is cryptocurrency. Okay. There's a ton of other cryptocurrencies out there, Dogecoin, Litecoin, whatever. And this is not a solicitation. I have a license, so I got to say it. Okay. This is not a solicitation for any type of those investments. Okay. But essentially, there's all these different kinds of cryptocurrencies. If you understand what cryptocurrency is, which is backed up by what we call blockchain. Okay. Blockchain is pretty much a way of authenticating where the money came from bit by bit by bit. Very similar to if I put my money in the bank, it's in the bank, it's in one location. Okay. Well, when I have blockchain technology, and I'm going to butcher this, but the concept's rolling around in my head because I've looked at this. Okay. But if you have blockchain technology, pretty much what it's saying is that we're going to verify it from every point that it's went, so it can't be hacked. So in order for somebody to steal your Bitcoin or your whatever currency you have, they have to hack every single piece of where it's been before, all at the same time as it's being verified in real time by other users. So it makes it super secure, and it also makes it hard to trace. You can't it's virtually untraceable. You can tell where it's been, but you don't know who's had it or whatever. Gotcha. So if you understand that, you'll understand that it has great possibility for growth. What people are investing in, which is the Bitcoin, let's call it stock, that is based off of speculation of how it's going to grow. Essentially, there's not a ton of people using Bitcoin like on a regular basis yet. When it starts to get commercial acceptance, meaning banks start to use it, financial institutions start to accept it, then you'll see where it will probably super explode and it'll be worth more money. It's been going up, it's been going down. I do think that the blockchain technology is going to be here to stay. That's why you have NFTs, which are non-fungible tokens. I forget the name. NFTs, but they've been popping up. These are those things where you see LeBron James dunking and it's worth like $300,000, but it's an electronic footprint. That's based on blockchain technology. So it can be used for a lot of different things. People have to understand when you're investing, period, you have to look at the upsides and the downsides. Just because something can blow up to the moon doesn't mean you want to be in it. And you have to have a reason for whatever you're using and whatever you're doing. If you got extra money to invest, great, but you shouldn't really be investing any money until you secured what you have at home.
Gotcha.
And that's the next thing. Like after budgeting, the next thing I'm telling people is have an emergency fund. You know, if anything, last year taught us that we didn't have as much funds as we thought we had. For the majority of people, some people were straight, they were okay. But, you know, in the industry kind of got ravaged because people were working where they're like, okay, well, I'm going to make the money the next day. And all of a sudden, the next day, the shop ain't open by law. So,
that's right.
And they're finding you and coming in your spot and saying, hey, you can't open today. So people that didn't have strong savings or emergency funds to fall back on, they got hurt really bad.
Oh, yeah.
And like you got to take care of that first before you talk about investing any money. If you don't have enough to, you know, cover at least 1 to 3 months of your bills, 6 ideally, and just the main stuff, you know, you got to have a place to stay. You got to have food to eat. I don't care if you're eating ramen noodles.
Right.
You still got to have food to eat. You got to, if you live in Florida, you got to have transportation. Right. Our mass transit, I know Fareed's from up north.
Yeah.
Our mass transit down here is just
not the same.
non-existent. All right. You got to wait 2 hours for the bus, and hopefully you don't miss that one.
Right.
So you need a car in Florida. That's the bottom line.
Right.
You need a car. You don't need to be riding dirty. So you need to keep it legal. You need some insurance. You need to have enough money in an account, just a normal account, to take care of at least a month of your expenses. Okay. Because all of us, especially if you're in the industry, you can hustle and make some money. Not illegally, but you can do some things and you can make money.
Right.
The whole purpose of having money set aside is that you're just trying to wait out the time till you can get back to your main money-making thing, which is being on your tools, being a barber, right? But in the meantime, if there's not open, I'm going to do other things to make money. I just don't need to be completely wiped out so that now my family has to live off of half. Well, I can supplement half of the money that I have in my account with half of the money that I'm just making on my side gig or whatever, and now we're okay and we can make it through.
Right.
So emergency funds, if you don't have one right now, they don't have to be anything like, you know, crazy. It's just saving money in an account that you're not touching, that you're calling an emergency fund account. Right. The problem is most people don't do that.
Right.
They'll save for a house and they won't have an emergency fund. And then something happens because, of course, it takes money to buy a house. Now I got to take the house money and use it for the emergency.
Right.
Well, it's all the same money. You just split it in half, call half a house, half emergency. Now when something happens, you take the money out of the emergency fund. You don't feel so bad. You're not moving further away from your goal of getting the house.
Right.
But these are the things we got to do with ourselves. And this is what we got to tell ourselves as we're, you know, going through our finances, you know, what's over here and what's over here.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know some of the biggest things that, you know, and I'm using myself as an example too, is that tax season. Unemployed.
Who pay taxes?
You know, small businesses like us, you know, because first of all, there are barbers who make anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000 to $60,000 a year. Then there are barbers who make 6 figures. You have some that's from 100 to 200 and up in the industry. So there are different levels of barbers and beauticians. So we need to understand that. But what we all need to have the same is how do we deal with our taxes? And I'm sure different tax brackets, there's different ways, but give us some insight on that. What would be a good structure for an average barber to pay his taxes and stuff like that?
So ultimately, I'm going to tell everybody to defer to a tax professional. This the if for the minor level, you can take care of your taxes on your own. All right. But as you start to make more income and you start to become more profitable in different ways inside the industry, use a CPA. They don't have to be in some big firm. There's a ton of local, just, people just like you are that are CPAs that are licensed to do that kind of stuff. And they can help you out because the tax laws change, different things that you can take away or deduct. All that stuff changes on a yearly basis.
Okay.
So it's important to have a professional help you with that. Just like if in your industry, you don't want just the average Joe Schmo picking up a pair of clippers and cutting your hair. In their industry, they don't want the average Joe Schmo, going and talking about, I'm gonna claim this and all this and all that. And they don't know the story behind it.
Right.
So at a minor level, okay, when you're a kid, your mom can give you the overall one and you're going to be good for the most part. Okay. But as you get into the big leagues, you need to seek a professional, right? Mm-hmm. But when it comes down to it, most barbers and stylists are 1099. Everybody's not working at Fantastic Sam's where they're getting a paycheck or something like that. Right. No knock on them.
Right.
But the majority of the industry are self-employed 1099 people.
Right.
Being in that vein, you have advantages over a W-2 employee, right? Meaning somebody that receives a check from a company. The one of the biggest and major advantages that you got to understand and take care of in the front part is that you pay your taxes last, not first. So whenever you're a normal employee, and most barbers come from a normal job, right? Mm-hmm. So before you even get your paycheck, FICA done came out, federal done came, all this stuff came out. You get a check after it's said and done, and that's your check,
Right.
You don't know the full gross amount that you made because they took out taxes and all this other stuff.
Right.
When you're self-employed, it's the opposite. You make your money, and then the government says, great, you made your money. So now tell us how much you want to pay us based off of what your expenses were. Right. So did you pay booth rent? Did you pay for clippers? Did you pay for this thing and that thing? Mm-hmm. And you maybe you made $50,000 and you paid $10,000 in expenses, whatever. That means the government looks at you like you paid $40,000. Right. And you would pay taxes on $40,000. You made $40,000, so you pay taxes on $40,000.
Right.
Now that can be to a great detriment to you, or it can be to a great advantage.
Right.
Because nobody wants to pay taxes, but at the end of the day, you need to pay taxes because taxes is just like hush money. Okay. Right. It's hush money that you pay to the government to leave you the hell alone. All right. That's what it is. Because the government's giving you so much leverage to tell them whatever you want to, honestly, you need to pay the hush money so they leave you the hell alone.
Right.
So I tell barbers and stylists all the time, you got to look towards the future. Are you going to want to purchase a home? Are you going to want to purchase a big ticket item? Because if that's the case, you can't just deduct everything and, I only made $15,000 last year, knowing that you made $50,000. Right. Because when you go to get something, you're going to get slapped over the head. They're going to be like, okay, so let's see how much you made. You might have all the money in the bank and everything like that. Let's see how much you made. Oh, you made $15,000. You want to buy this $200,000 house? Not quite enough money. Right. But I did make. What you gonna say? You made it? Oh, so you're evading taxes now as well? Right. So gotcha. It's not on a tax rate. It's not real.
It's not adding up. Right.
And look, and disclaimer, there's a ton of people that can tell you a workaround and all that. You don't want to be working your life on the workarounds. You want to be on the up and up. You want to have things as congruent as possible. Now, I'm not saying that don't take all the deductions you can take.
Right.
But you have to understand how to use your position where you are. Right. All that money that comes into your pocket after you cut that hair is not your money. And that, like, you got $35 or $50 on that cut, or you got $100 on that style. That's not all your money.
Right.
Because number one, you haven't paid any taxes on that money. Number two, it's probably fair to say that you had to use some products or something happened for you to get there. Right. So whether it's a neck strip, whether it's spray, whether it's whatever, it doesn't seem like a lot when you just on one person's head, but that adds up over time. And at the end of the day, I need another bottle of this.
Right.
And I haven't taken out any money for it, so now I'm paying it out of my pocket.
Right.
So the $25, the $35 haircut or the $50 haircut, that's not all your money. Mm. Some of that essentially is going to go to taxes, whether you like it or not. Some of that's going to have to go for you to re-up on your product so you can essentially stay in business. And another part of that needs to go for future expenses that you're going to have. You don't know what's going to break down. You don't know what could put you out of commission. So if you got $50 for the cut, I would say, 45 of that is your money. 5 of that goes to whatever else.
Right.
And get into the habit of putting aside money and really working with a CPA or somebody to tell you what tax structure you should be in. Everybody's like, the real common thing right now is you got to have a corporation, you got to have a business, and and pass through money. Well, the thing about corporations and getting your structure set up like that is that they cost money. None of that stuff's free.
Right.
LLCs are the cheapest, but LLC is pretty much like being self-employed because the income is just passed through. Right. It doesn't matter that you have a LLC. It just limited liability corporation. That's what it is. Right. So it's not necessarily a S corp or a corporation where you have an entity. They're taking all the risks. They're paying you from the entity. Right. That's great in theory, but if you're not making money like that and you're paying for that thing, that's holding you back. When you could really just be, you can have an LLC or you could just be self-employed until you get to a level where you are going to pay for these expenses to have your money set up that way. Having a separate, getting an LLC is really inexpensive, but it also allows you the ability to get a business bank account. Right. Without a LLC or without an EIN number, the bank won't let you have a business bank account. And I tell every professional they should be looking into getting that one day because it helps you separate out your finances. Right. You need to have it where you can have, this is business money, this is personal money. When it's all mixed together is when things start to go left. Right. And in the business account is where you will start to put money away for taxes that you should be paying quarterly. Okay. Right. If you are a business owner, self-employed, you don't pay taxes like W-2 people pay taxes because essentially W-2 pay taxes every single paycheck. Gotcha. Because they take money out every single paycheck, right? When you're self-employed, you don't go by those same rules. You're supposed to be paying taxes quarterly. Right. Or estimated taxes quarterly. Yeah. And when you don't, there's a penalty that's in there that most people don't know about because you haven't paid your taxes all year and you were supposed to be paying them quarterly. So you have to be putting money aside for that so that you can grow and prosper and give the government their hush money. Gotcha. So hush money in the government is what you want to think about.
That was well said, Lee, because I know I've been audited. I was audited, I believe, 2013. And by me being a videographer and a photographer also, I did do a LLC. I put everything under one umbrella. I think I called it something media group. And I just put everything under one umbrella and even then when you do that, if you don't have that account the business account that you were talking about, you tend to have all your money in one account or, you have various credit cards and you just spend it and take money from here, take money there, or you can have money under the pillow. Give me that dollar under there. So it kind of gets, like you say, if you put it all in one pot, it's hard to separate. And then it's time to pay the piper. It's like, oh, I owe him that much. Oh, man. So, Lee, tell everybody what services that you provide, where they can reach you and get in touch with you and, maybe do a consultation with you, because I think that the information that you provided today was excellent. Excellent. Shout out to Lee Oliver.
Thank you. Appreciate
where can they find and let everybody know what services that you provide and how can you help them,
So you guys can find me pretty much through my personal phone number. I have no qualms about giving out my number. 813-416-5292.
It will be under the screen. You will see it under the screen.
Call me, text me, whatever. And on top of that, just think about the phone number. I could probably find out everybody's phone number because whenever you create your Instagram profile, you put your phone number there. Right. Most people just don't look there for it, but I can call you right now because it's something that you just do automatically and you don't know. Right. So that's my personal number. Also, you can, and I'm gonna give you, I would give you my business email, but it's so long. I don't even want to do that to y'all. But on Instagram, I'm LEEJR813, Lee Jr. 813. On Facebook, I'm Lee Oliver. My company, my LLC is called Fundamentally Funded Prosperity. It's F Squared Prosperity for short. I'm in affiliation with a company that I work with that actually does all the services that I provide. So I help people out with life insurance. And this is something that gets overlooked because everybody wants to talk about investments. They want to talk about, money and coming in and all that.
Right.
But when you are an entrepreneur and you have a family and you have people that depend on your income coming in and you pass away, your income stops as well. So my whole goal is for you to never need to use life insurance, meaning you're alive, you don't die, but while we're building the wealth, while you're doing the thing, while you're on your grind, while you're on your hustle, while you're making all the money you can make because you're at the most productive point in your life, you got to protect yourself because I can tell you just in Tampa, Florida alone, the amount of wrong way drivers, the amount of just senseless, just silly stuff. And that's just in my city that happens to people, and through no fault of the people's own, they're not here anymore.
Wow.
So you owe it to your family, you owe it to yourself to make sure that you're protecting yourself first and foremost before you even get into all of the, I'm going to be stacking up, I'm going to be a millionaire, I'm going to be all that. All that's great. If you're not there yet, you got to protect home first. So that's the first thing. I help people out with finding good, affordable, quality life insurance. And that's one of the core aspects of my business. Even though I talk about money a lot, that's kind of a pet peeve for mine because a best friend of mine passed away when she was 35 years old because she just didn't wake up one day.
I mean, that's so, not to interrupt you, Lee, but that is so profound, like eye-opening, even for me right now. And I have life insurance, but it's like I never heard it put that way.
Yeah, because a lot of times people are like, okay, I got to have enough money to bury me. I don't want these jokers doing a GoFundMe and all this stuff and all that. That's great. However, after the funeral's done, after all that stuff is over, everybody's sad and all that, we get back to our normal lives as usual, and we look up and we're like, okay, well, where's the other part of the paycheck that used to come in? I know dad or mom used to be out there grinding, getting the money, and he used to provide our life. We just got this house. We just did all this stuff, and now half the money's gone.
Right.
So after the funeral and all that's done, where's the money coming from?
Right.
Or was there enough money there to pay off the stuff so we could live off of one income?
Right.
And if that's not the case, then you got to protect yourself. And for people that are average, normal, it could cost you, $30 or $40 a month to get enough of a policy to cover yourself and cover a lot of your little expenses.
Gotcha.
Of course, if you want a lot more money, it's more money, but it's like a core that a lot of people don't recognize, especially in our community, because barbers and stylists tend to be people that came from hard times. They tend to be people that, are making it for the first time in their life, and they haven't had somebody put together the fundamentals.
Right.
So that's the first thing I help people out with. The second thing is budgeting. Making sure that people understand where the money coming in is and where it's going out from. Setting up emergencies, future-proofing your life, meaning that you have a will or something that is a succession plan. Catchphrase now today, generational wealth. That's what everybody's talking. I'm building generational wealth for my family. I'm building this business for generational wealth. But what's your succession plan for the wealth once you build it?
Wow.
Because the problem is it doesn't move from one generation to another generation easily because we don't have the structures in place. The reason why there's still a Rockefeller Center, the reason why we know who the Kennedys are, the reason why we know who the J. Paul Gettys and the Chases and all those people are, is because not that they just amassed a massive amount of wealth, because they did, but there's a succession plan for every generation after they were here to assimilate that wealth to the next generation. So if we're not setting up ourselves in that way, meaning we have wills, we have trust, we have things that we can move money from one generation to another, it can get lost.
Wow.
So I help people set those up. I put them in touch with the people that set those up. I work on eliminating debt because every dollar that's going out of your pocket that's not going to an investment or going to invest in yourself is a dollar that's making somebody else money and not making you money. So the sooner you can eliminate debt, the sooner you can invest more into yourself, into your business, into your craft, into, whatever it is. And some debt is functional. Understand that. Nobody's going out and copping a house at $200,000 or $300,000 out of pocket.
Right.
That's understandable, but that's an asset that's going to grow over time. Credit cards, things like that are costing us a lot more money to use them than to not use them.
Right.
We want to eliminate that.
Gotcha.
Then we talk. Then I work in the area of investment, so we talk about retirement plans, getting tax sheltered money put away. One of the biggest advantages of having a retirement plan is not that it's going to beat out Bitcoin or it's going to grow bigger than these investments that I can do myself. One of the biggest reasons you get investment or IRA is because taxes eat away at your money. Taxes eat away at the money that you make. So it dang well would eat away at the money that you're saving if you don't have it sheltered from taxes.
Right.
So we want to shelter some money from taxes. Then you can do the other stuff you want to do with your money. I even work with educational accounts for kids. My whole goal is to sit down with somebody because I usually, if they're local or somewhat reasonable within a tank of gas, I will go and meet with people where they are.
Right.
The main thing is I don't want to cost you money to see me. Right now, we're in my office and we're downstairs in a conference room. Great. But if I had to tell everybody that I was going to meet to come here and see me, that's time you're not at the chair. That's time that you could have missed somebody that could have came in. And now I'm costing you money to see me. What kind of financial professional am I when I'm costing you money to see me? That don't make sense.
Right.
In my mind, that don't make. For some other, I need them to come to my office to see how important. That's BS. Bump that. I'm out in the streets. Like, I'll come to your spot. I'll see you in your spot. You link up with me. We have a conversation. I'll come see you. And the whole point is to get you a vision for what you want to do and then put the pieces in place so that you can do all those things later on.
Wow.
But that's pretty much everything I do in a nutshell. And, if, like I said before, he's going to put the number on the bottom. But just get in touch with me on Instagram, LEEJR813. Facebook, I'm Lee Oliver. I am a junior. You might see my dad on there, stunting a little bit.
Okay.
But I'm a junior. So, those are the ways to get in touch with me. If there's a barber battle in the Florida area, I'm probably at it.
Yep, that's true. That is
so
true.
You'll see me in the crowd. I look like this a lot of the time because it's different.
Right.
I like dressing up, of course. I was an electrician. Trust me, I look grimy and dirty for 12 years. I climbed through attics, and you don't want to know. So I relish the time that I can look like this.
Okay.
But I look like this because it's different. It's a conversation piece, and that's what sets me apart when I'm in a barber battle with a bunch of people with J's on and all that. And that's not the stereotype everybody in the industry.
No.
But if you're going to be in the industry, there's a certain look that you have to you.
We're going to be fly. Trust me.
And you're going to look good. You're going to have drip.
Yep.
So if this is my form of drip, it's different. And it begs the question of people coming at, what do you do? Are you a barber? You in the industry? And that's usually, I usually look like this. But I try to be at all the events that the people that I associate with, because ultimately I don't believe that a financial professional can help you if he's never been in your environment.
Gotcha.
And a lot of these guys have never been to a barber battle. They're not supporting you. I made my name in what I'm doing right now, and I'm like this big right now. I'm in Tampa, but I would go to the barber battles, and if I saw somebody competing by themselves, I would go and I would become their videographer. I would take pictures of them. Most of the time, they got an Instagram on their back.
Right.
So they're cutting. They got nobody there. They're competing. Maybe they're a student. They're there for the first time or whatever.
Right.
They're doing their thing. I would start taking really good quality pictures of them, and then I shoot it to them right in their DM.
Wow.
Because I can't expect for you to trust me if I haven't given anything to you.
Right. Right.
So that was my contribution to your success. Maybe you can post that picture. Maybe you'll get 2 or 3 more clients from one of your
the barbers
pictures.
love that. Yeah.
And since I added value to you, maybe that gets me into a conversation. I'm not saying that makes you obligated to spend money with me or whatever.
Right.
But at least I can get to a conversation because I've added value to your life. And that's my ultimate goal, is to add value to anybody I sit down with's life.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. Well, I'm gonna tell you something. This is one of the most informative podcasts I've ever heard, and it's happened to be my podcast. I really thank you, Lee, for coming and hanging out with me today. Or did I hang out with you?
I don't know.
We're in your office.
Man, hold on now. It's informative. I wanted to be one of the most entertaining. I should have started cracking some jokes.
No. But when I say informative, I'm talking about, we're talking about money. We're talking about, changing people's financial lifestyle and how they work with their money. Because informative, I felt like I was in the audience myself. And I'm sitting here, hosting with you. But I feel like I'm in the audience listening to this. So very, very informative, and I really appreciate that. I really do. And I think a lot of the barbers and beauticians that hear this after today will appreciate it too.
Absolutely.
I really urge you guys to contact Lee and do a one-on-one and a consultation with Lee.
Completely free, just so you know.
Yeah,
I don't charge people to sit down. That's ludicrous stuff. Right. Nobody should be charging you money to see if they can help you before they know they can help you.
Right.
Even when people sit down in you guys' chair, you don't say that's $20, because you sat down. Right. Well, okay, what do you want? Ooh,
right.
I don't know if I can do that. Then they have a decision to make. Are they gonna get in the chair or let you do what you can do?
Right.
So nobody should be like, give me $100 and I'll sit down with you and tell you that you broke.
Right. Right.
Nah, I know that already. I need the help. So tell me.
I really appreciate it. And I hope that, you guys that's listening out there, check out my boy, Lee Oliver. And Lee, I really appreciate it. And thank you for being on the show.
Nah, it's a pleasure to be here.
This is what we need, y'all. This is the conversations that we all should be having. You know what I mean? And today's topic is very important. We're talking about lifestyle, and the future of not only you as a stylist or just a self-employed barber or stylist. We're talking about your family and the future for your family. So, Lee, I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys, and make sure you keep following this guy, man. He's been putting out fire stuff for a while. you don't hear about him because he's kind of behind the scenes a lot of time, but he's the guy that's swiveling around with the camera a lot of times. And I bumped into him a few times. Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
I'm covering for my man over here. Like, okay, well. So definitely, it's been an honor and pleasure, and I look forward to seeing all the great people that's going to come on this podcast. As well as, the spots that you're going to be in, because I know you're always in the spot.
Oh, yeah. So, if you're in Florida, and you want to talk to a financial coach, Lee Oliver is your man. If you're at a barber battle, you're going to see Lee. If and Lee, I know you do events yourself, for a lot of the industry. So kudos schools, and shout out
things
to
like
you,
that. I've taught at schools, and
that's awesome. All right, guys. Well, until next time, peace. Man, that was dope. Nice.